All right, let's talk about bulb height and layering. When you're looking at the garden, you kind of want to see it as like a sightline pyramid. So you're going to want to have your lows, your middles, and your highs, but even between them, you're going to want to have some varying values. So we're going to start off by looking at your really low-lying bulbs. So these are kind of below those 6-inch marks. So some options for you, you can be looking at your mini daffodils, which come in those really great yellows, a nice punch of color. You can also look at Muscari, which has these just very grape-sized little blooms, super cute, really short. They typically come in those like blues and purples. We do carry this pink one, which like I bought a lot of because it's kind of my color. You can also look at Cyclamen, which this one you're going to want to put in the shade, and it will be a very low-lying, make a nice ground cover for you. Of course, you also have your Crocus options, so there's both the fall flowering versions, which will flower for you this year if you get them planted up, and the spring flowering options, which very early bloomer, great for those really early emerging pollinators, and just give you some nice pops of color when there's probably still a lot of snow on the ground. Speaking of snow on the ground and pops of color, winter aconite is a great option for you. You get these just bright, vibrant yellow cup little blooms. They'll even be poking out from below the snow for you sometimes, so really just something great to have in the spring. Beyond that, we have a few options that have very similar flower forms. You can be looking at the striped squill as well as the Siberian squill, which typically come in those blues and purples. The striped one has a little bit more of those white values. And then you can also be looking at the Glory of the Snow, which this one happens to come in a really beautiful pink color, but also comes in a super vibrant blue. There's whites, lots of different options. And finally, we have Galanthus here, which really early bloomer. These are great near deciduous trees if you're wanting something to have a pop of color out there. And again, these will all be below that 6-inch mark. So those really great kind of ground covers for you, early emerging, some really bright colors. Next up is those mid-level bulbs that are going to be between 8 and 18 inches when they're fully grown. Starting out with some tulips, you've got the Fosteriana options. You can also be looking at your double Fosteriana options, as well as the Greigii, which really lovely colors, interesting flower forms. You've got your Fritillaria meleagris here. So this one is a really interesting flower. It also comes in a checkered purple option, which just makes a really unique texture in the garden and something that you don't typically see. Definitely one that people are going to be asking you, what is that? And then you have a story to tell them. Beyond that, we've got more tulips because, of course, it's spring. What is it without tulips? We've got the Triumph tulips. You can also be looking at the Kaufmanniana. These ones, super bright yellow, interesting flower form, and they will actually perennialize for you. We've also got the double early tulips. These are very similar to the double peony type, but these ones are just a little bit more early blooming for you. Moving beyond tulips, of course, there's also daffodils. So some options you can look at in this medium height level is the rock garden daffodil, as well as your doubles and your split corona options, and your tried and true trumpets. Moving right along into tall options, these ones are going to be about 18 to 36 inches in height. So starting off with our tulips, we have the fringed tulips, which have these nice like icicle-y like tendrils on them that just create some really interesting texture values and, you know, look a little bit frosty. We've got the double peony tulips, which again are similar to the double earlies. They'll just be blooming a little bit later and a little bit taller. So it's a great option to add with the double earlies so that you get similar flower forms that are really going to complement each other, but have different height values as well as slightly staggered bloom times so that everything isn't happening for 2 weeks and then just done. You can look at the lily flowering type, which have this really gorgeous flower form, just kind of these cups that come up and open. Really, really beautiful. Your tried and true Darwin hybrids. Out of the options that are a little bit more showy, these ones will be your longer lasting tulips, so they can be a great option to add into the garden so you get a few years value out of them. Double fringe varieties, which as they sound are just like the fringed ones, just double the fringiness. And a personal favorite of mine, the parrot tulips. These ones, those super showy flower forms. Don't be mad at them if they don't come back 2 years later. You know what? They did a lot of work making these flower forms for you, so enjoy them. But you know what? It's okay if they don't come back because unlike fast fashion, these things can go in your compost and you can replace them every year and have something new. For your tall alliums, you'll be looking at the Pinball Wizards, your Purple Sensations. These ones are a great punctuation mark in the garden. They really jump out of everything else. And there's also some even taller allium options, so they make for some really great height values and texture for you. Your Fritillaria Imperialis, so these are the really tall, musky smelling ones. You might go outside and think it smells like a skunk, but don't worry, they won't be around forever, but they do create some really incredible visuals for you and something really unique that when people are walking past your garden, they'll not only see something gorgeous, they'll be wondering about the smell, but then it gives you a story to tell. And finally, your very tall options. So with these, you're looking at 36 to 60 plus inches. Some of these can even go up to 6 feet, like the foxtail lily, for example, depending on the variety. They can become giants, and they are an absolutely incredible flower form. Definitely something you need to try. Beyond that, we have the Ambassador Allium. So not only is this one going to get super tall, it is a massive flower form. So something really great in your garden, definitely a statement piece. And beyond that, we've got the Martagon lilies, which will establish into a really large colony for you, give you a huge amount of blooms, and definitely some really interesting flower forms, especially in the fall. You can find some really unique ones. So when you're looking at your bulb heights, you want to kind of think of it as a sightline pyramid. So your short is your border kind of area. You want the middle area to be that color band, what really kind of makes a statement. And then your taller ones are sort of your exclamation points of the garden to really kind of punctuate what's going on. As a little tip, not only do you want to be kind of staggering heights and having different values going on, if you're planting a lot of tulips, try to plant your darker tulips behind your lighter ones. It serves as a great way to create some really strong contrast, really highlight those lighter blooms for you, because it just almost is like a shadow behind them, so it's just really going to make that lighter color way more punchy.